By the time the fourth tipsy guy in a neon tank top was face down on the dock with his hands cuffed behind his back, Denise Marlowe was screaming at the top of her lungs, "You cannot arrest my guests. This is a community amenity." The lake patrol boat idled 10 feet off the pier, its blue light strobing across the water like some bizarre disco party. 2 deputies stood on my dock, calm as garden statues, while Denise's so-called lake day guests were slowly being escorted off one by one. One guy still clutched a beer koozie in his hand. One woman swore up and down that she had done nothing but sit in the man's chair. Another dude tried to argue that HOA meant public, bro. I leaned against the rail a safe distance back, phone recording, coffee in hand. Just another Sunday afternoon at Lake Cedar Ridge. The lead deputy pointed to the sign bolted at eye level on the dock gate. Private dock. Parcel 19 owners only. Not in HOA facility. Trespassers will be prosecuted. That's his last name right there, the deputy said, tapping the word Kane on the smaller metal plaque below. Denise, in her Lake Cedar Ridge HOA president polo, jabbed a manicured finger toward me. He cannot own the water. We have a lake access covenant. I scheduled a community event here. The deputy turned to me with an expression of practiced patience. Sir, just to confirm, did you invite any of these people onto your dock today? I took a sip of coffee. Absolutely not. I was sitting inside when I heard someone shout, "Welcome to the HOA dock." Denise's jaw dropped as if I had just confessed to treason. It is the HOA dock. Ma'am, the deputy said, gesturing to the growing line of handcuffed tank tops. Today, it's a crime scene. 6 months earlier, I thought moving to Lake Cedar Ridge would mean peace, quiet, and the occasional kayak trip, not legal battles over planks of treated lumber. I'm 39, a freelance CAD designer who likes exactly 3 things: early mornings on the water, strong coffee, and being left alone. I grew up around lakes and knew precisely what I wanted: a house with a deeded private dock, no boat ramp drama, and no sharing with strangers who blasted country remixes at 8 in the morning. The listing was perfect: a small frame at the edge of the subdivision with a narrow strip of land running down to the shoreline. The deed spelled it out clearly: exclusive use of DACA 19 and adjoining shoreline easement recorded to parcel 19, not a common area. The county survey showed the dock and the 15 feet of shore around it were 100% on my parcel, fenced off from the community access beach farther down. Then I met Denise Marlowe, 52 years old, self-declared guardian of the Lake Cedar Ridge lifestyle. Her personality could be summarized in 3 phrases: HOA binder, wine at 3:00 p.m., and constant simmering outrage beneath a visor. At our first interaction, she appeared on my front porch with a welcome basket in one hand and a clipboard in the other. "Hi there. I'm Denise, HOA president. I see you've got DACA-19.so that you know. We treat all shoreline structures as community amenities." I pulled up the deed on my phone and showed it to her. "It says it's my private dock." She smiled the way people smile right before telling you you're wrong. "Oh, we don't do that here." At first, it was subtle. One Saturday morning, I found a couple I had never seen before sitting in my dock chairs, a cooler between them. "We booked this with the HOA," the woman said, confused. Denise said we could reserve the dock by the hour. I walked them back through the gate, pointed down the shoreline to the actual community beach and its flimsy share dock, and installed a small sign of my own, private dock, no HOA access. The next day, the sign was gone. In its place, someone had zip-tied a laminated sheet: HOA shared dock, first come, first served. Lake Cedar Ridge Estates. I checked my cameras. There she was, Denise, at 6:11 a.m. in her visor, cutting off my sign and installing hers like she was claiming territory for the crown. I printed a still of her mid-cut and emailed it to her. "Do not remove signage from my property again. DACA 19 is private, per deed and county records. This is Sonatus." Her response arrived within minutes: "The community's covenant to enjoy the lake supersedes misunderstanding of your own deed. The dock was built in harmony with the neighborhood and is therefore shared." I started a folder named Marlowe Nonsense Evidence. Over the next few weeks, random teens began fishing off my dock. Strangers left beer cans in my cup holders. Someone dragged a plastic community kayak onto my shoreline and left it there like a squatter's flag. I escalated. I bolted on a proper aluminum sign with my lot number, added a lock to the gate, and installed an obvious camera facing the entrance. Denise escalated harder. At the next HOA meeting, she announced that they had regained access to what she called the South Community Dock and that homeowners could now enjoy expanded lake use. She sent out an HOA email blast with a photo of my dock cropped just short of my house. I replied to all with the uncropped photo showing my living room and my sign. "That's my private dock. Please remove this image and any reference to it from the community." Instead, Denise added a line to the next newsletter. "One homeowner has mistakenly objected to community lake usage. We are resolving it." Her resolution arrived in the form of a pastel flyer stuck to my mailbox one Friday. HOA Lake Day, Sunday 2/006:00 p.m. Location, South Dock. Hosted by HOA President Denise Marlowe. Music, drinks, floaties, guests welcome. At the bottom in small text, South Dock equals the one by the Kane property. My property. I could have stayed inside that Sunday, called the non-emergency line, and let things fizzle out slowly. Instead, I went full engineer. On Saturday morning I walked down to the dock with a printed copy of my deed, a blown-up map from the county GIS portal, a friend who worked as a survey tech, a brand-new, ugly worded sign, and a discreet audio recorder in my pocket. We measured. We marked the pins. My friend confirmed the dock, shoreline, and path down from my house were entirely within parcel 19. By noon, a new sign was bolted to the dock gate. Private dock, parcel 19. This is not an HOA facility. Used by permission off-towner only. Trespassers best to arrest under County Code 14/08. I emailed the HOA board and CC'd the property manager and the subdivision's attorney. Attached are county maps confirming DACA 19 is on my parcel. Your president continues to advertise my property as an HOA amenity and has removed my signage twice. This is your formal notice that any non-invited use will be treated as criminal trespass. Sign. Elias Kane. The property manager replied within the hour. We have advised Miss Marlowe not to represent any privately owned docks as HOA amenities. We'll address this internally. 20 minutes later, Denise replied, all anyway. We will not let one selfish owner privatize our lake. Lake access is a communal right. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 happened the morning of HOA Lake Day, when she cut off my lock with bolt cutters, zip-tied a balloon arch to my dock railing, set up a Bluetooth speaker, and duct-taped a handwritten sign. HOA Lake Party. Come on down. All of it captured in glorious 1080p resolution from my camera. I called the non-emergency police line and asked a calm question. At what point does this move from annoying neighbor to organized trespassing on posted private property? The dispatcher's answer was immediate. If you've posted signs, given written notice, and have video of them cutting your lock, that's trespassing. If alcohol is involved on a dock, Lake Patrol will want to know too. I sent one last email to Denise. Cancel your event at my dock by 1:00 p.m. or I will have law enforcement remove you and your guests for trespassing. This is your last notice. At 1:03 p.m. Got a reply. Stop threatening me. You'll be hearing from the architectural committee. I stared at that line, glanced at the time, and opened my Marlowe nonsense evidence folder. Then I dialed the sheriff. HOA Lake Day kicked off at 2:00 p.m. like a bad commercial. Denise marched down the path with coolers, portable speakers, a string of dollar store bunting, and a swarm of neighbors and guests in swimwear. She announced loudly, "Welcome to the South HOA Dock," so everyone could hear. I stayed inside, blinds tilted. I watched people clamber over my private dock sign as if it were decorative, anchor their floats to my pilings, and line up their drinks on my railing. At 2:17 p.m., the first coyotes of justice appeared, a sheriff's SUV at the top of the hill, and a county lake patrol boat easing across the water. Lights dark for the moment. I waited until the dock looked full 8, maybe 10 people, some with open beers. One guy flicked a cigarette butt into the lake. Then the blue lights came on. Lake Patrol hit the air horn once. The sheriff's deputy started down the path. Another deputy followed, body cam blinking. Afternoon, the lead deputy called out, stepping onto the deck just inside the gate. Whose property is this? Denise stepped forward, HOA polo practically glowing. This is the Lake Cedar Ridge HOA dock. I'm the HOA president. The deputy nodded once, then pointed at the metal sign. Because this sign says it's the private dock of Parcel 19, and the owner of Parcel 19 called to report trespassing, one of the guests shifted uneasily. Dude, Denise, you said this was all cleared. She waved a hand dismissively. The HOA's rights supersede the individual. That was when I stepped out onto my back deck. Phone up. Zoomed in. The deputy saw me and raised a hand. Mr. Kane, just confirming you did not permit for any of these individuals to be on your dock. Nope, I called back. Nor for anyone to cut my lock, remove my signs, or use my furniture. The deputy looked at Denise. Did you cut a lock off this gate today? She hesitated just long enough for her credibility to die. I had to. He cannot restrict lake access. That's against the spirit of the community. Ma'am, the deputy said evenly. That's not a legal thing. He turned and addressed the group. Everyone, you're on posted private property without permission. At this point, you're trespassing. I'm going to ask once. Gather your belongings and step off the dock to the top of the path. We'll sort out who knew what on solid ground. Most of them moved. 3 didn't. Beer guy muttered about police overreach and took another swig. Tank top bro asked if the deputy had anything better to do, and Denise planted herself dead center in front of the gate. You cannot kick us out, she yelled. We have an implied easement. The HOA owns the shoreline access. He's trying to steal the lake. The deputy just blinked at her, and that's when the power shift happened quick and clean. Ma'am, put the drink down. Step off the dock, or you'll be detained for trespassing. She folded her arms. No, he glanced at the lake patrol officer. We're done asking. Click. Cuffs. Gasps. What I had not expected was the domino effect. Once Denise refused to move, her more belligerent guests decided to make it a group performance. Beer guy tried to shoulder past the deputy, saying, "You don't get to tell me." Tank top bro started filming, yelling, "I know my rights," while tripping over a dock line. They ended up with beer guy cuffed for trespass and open container on a posted private dock. Tank top bro cuffed after he ignored 3 direct orders to step back and nearly fell into the water, and Denise cuffed for trespass, obstruction, and criminal mischief for cutting the lock. The rest of the guests were herded up the path, and handed polite but firm trespass warnings. A few apologized to me on their way out. She told us this was community, one woman said, shivering in her cover-up. We wouldn't have come if we knew. I just nodded. Next time, read the sign. Denise, now standing on the path in cuffs, was absolutely losing it. You're all going to feel stupid when the HOA's lawyer calls. She shrieked at the deputies. This is an amenity. We voted on it. Ma'am, the second deputy replied, not bothering to hide the weariness. You cannot vote someone else's property into being yours. That's not how any of this works. They sat her down on the curb while they confirmed with dispatch. Parcel 19 deed, private dock. County GIS, dock within Parcel 19 boundaries. Prior complaint record yes. Documented disputes, email threats, and warnings on file. The Lake Patrol officer came up to me. Just so you know, he said. We've had calls from her before, trying to report you for blocking community access with your kayak and chairs. We checked the maps. She's been told twice this isn't HOA property. He smiled slightly. Today will be the last time. As they walked Denise to the cruiser, she tried one last line of defense. I'm the HOA president. The deputy opened the door for her, utterly unimpressed. Not on this dock, you're not. The door shut. The SUV pulled away, HOA logo on her polo disappearing behind tinted glass. Within a week, my attorney sent the HOA a neat little packet. Copies of the deed and county maps. Still shots of Denise cutting the lock and hosting the event. and an itemized list of damages, legal costs, and a suggested settlement to avoid a lawsuit for harassment and trespass. The HOA's insurance carrier strongly suggested they pay. They did. The settlement included full reimbursement for my legal fees, a new security system, and dock repairs. A formal written apology from the HOA for misrepresenting my dock as a community amenity. A binding provision that the HOA would never again advertise or schedule any event on private property without written owner consent. And one more thing, the HOA president shall be immediately removed from office and barred from serving in any board capacity for the duration of her trespass probation. At the next HOA meeting, held in a suddenly over-attended clubhouse, the vice president cleared his throat. Effective today, Denise Marlowe is removed as president. Going forward, we want to make it absolutely clear, private property is private property. There was an awkward laugh, then actual applause. Denise stood frozen at the back of the room, face pale, hands trembling as she realized her reign was over, permanently.